Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can write the abstract, which is almost the finishing part of the course because then we are done with the results section, also how the reference was done. And basically, methodology is a different aspect because here you were just doing like a kind of data mining, I would say, because you were just checking the references out and then you found some articles and data from the websites. But how to write an abstract? Now, this is a different step, but that should be the last one when you're writing a thesis work or a PhD dissertation. Because the abstract, most of the cases, contains parts of the whole story, like the method, some of the results, and some of the discussion. It depends which type of work you're showing, but for example, when you go for a TDK presentation, I'm pretty sure that you know this kind of structure, what people are asking you to do. Please do write the title, then something about the introduction. We need to go for the aim of the study. Let's try to summarize some of the materials and methods, and then some words about the results and their discussion. There is another case when we are talking about the scientific figures related work and scientific manuscript. In this sense, the abstract is even shorter. Like in the gray box, you see how this abstract looks like. It does not have the typical, okay, introduction, this is the method, this is the result. It is more about like assemble the whole thing without the categories. That's also an option, but it really depends on the journal that you're working with or you want to publish for. And the third type, what you will find on the websites, those kind of mini articles. I would say that we shouldn't say that those are not articles because they are for sure. But in those cases, the abstract usually located under the main headline or head picture, and they are just showing a really catchy sentences. And this is how basically the Facebook ads and all the things which appears on the social media platforms work. Like they have a catchy title and that's why you are going to click on it. I think this is called clickbait type of strategy. And because basically these articles are even more famous when the people just read it. So what they do, they trying to be super catchy, and that's what you see. For example, here it's about the coffee market trends, experts insights 2025. And there's like a short information what the whole story will be about. And they are even using the bold type of sentences because this is also catch your eyes like, hey guys, let's read this one because this is what we need. So as you see, there are plenty of options what you can use, but let's go back to the scientific ones because we have some rules to follow. The first one is that an abstract is almost, and every single time, this is a short summary of a long work. It's not like, oh, I'm going to make a 3 pages abstract. No, abstract every single time this is super short compared to the whole work. And you know, it should report the aim and the outcomes of your research. So basically they need to have some common structures, introduction, methods, results, or discussion. You have a, let's say, a choice in that sense that whether you want to show the categories and this is how you are going to write, or you are not showing the categories, just assemble the whole material, I mean text-wise the material, without no sections in the text part. So it's totally up to you how you are going to work, but please do remember that it is a short summary of a longer work. How the introduction will work. Introduction you already done in your work, and basically this is how the practical and the theoretical problem meet, I would say. So basically in the case of the abstract introduction, you really have to include some brief context of the relevance of your work. So it does not mean that you really have to amaze all the readers or the audience, because it's not, I mean, this is not the aim. The abstract aim is just to get a picture of what have been done. So that's why please do not go into the detailed background information, because you have a separate chapter for that. That's called like the literature review. And also, if you are using like special terms like super unfamiliar for the readers or an average reader, you really have to give the meaning to that. Which means, like, if you are using a special abbreviation, you really have to write down like, hey, the abbreviation means this or this. Also, after you identify the problem or like giving the relevance of your work, then you really have to go for the objectives of your research. And for that, there are some helping verbs to use, like investigate, test, analyze, or evaluate, because these are going to describe exactly what you want to say or what you have set for the later parts. There is one critical rule here, which is really strict in every single time, that the abstract can be written in the present or past simple tenses, but never ever use the future, because it's really a kind of discrepancy. Because when you say like, oh, I'm already done with this one, but in the future, what? So if you are saying like, you did the work, you got the results, and hey guys, this is the conclusion, that's super fine. But when you're going to write like, oh, I want to investigate the role of my mental breakdowns during the university studies, this is not going to work. Nobody is curious about like what you will go for afterwards. They're curious about what you have done, and that's the basic situation. So when you go for these, I would say like the red shows you, which is not good. So the study will investigate. No, this is not good. I saw many times that this is happening here, but this study investigates. So use statements like, hey, this is it. I did this. We are going to get into the details here and here and here, but never like we are going to measure this one, because it refers that you are not really finished with your work. Methods. Now, method is also tricky, because that could be like a different parts, like you are working with different methods, how long, how hard, how complicated it is. But the abstract is not really the part when you want to give a headache to your readers. So to indicate the research method that you used, the reason behind is just to see how you are going to answer the question. For example, if you're looking for like how the coffee consumption is going to change upon the university students, then you are going to make a survey experiments, right? So, for example, structured interviews were conducted with 25 participants. And that's it. And there is one more thing. Do not evaluate the validity or the obstacles here, because the goal is not to give an account to the methodology's strength or weaknesses. It is just a statement like, hey guys, I went there to that girl, to that guy, and I asked them like, hey, are you going to drink coffee or not? And then I went to another girl, another guy, like, hey, oh, are you drinking coffee? And that's it. Nobody's asking you like it was stable, it was not stable. Your reviewer are going to decide afterwards. If we go further, there's another thing I would say, because here again, it's really depending of the method what you do. So if you are looking for the perfect manicure, which is measured by the happiness of the cat during the process, then the only thing you need to do is just basically do the manicure for the cat, and that's it. If she will be happy, then she will be happy. If she will be not happy, obviously she's going to run away. So this is an easy method to measure how the cats are satisfying or not. Actually, that would be a video, but it is not going to work here. Perfect. Now, anyways. Oh, it is going to work. That's good. Yeah, so I did a really easy experiment. I was doing Lilith's manicure, but she was just pouring around. She loved to have it. So that experiment was really good. Okay, Now let's go for the results. If you summarize your research results, this part of the abstract is not long again, because you need to use like short present or past simple tense, like or analysis showed or shows. These are a really good type of method to write the results section. Or analysis shows a strong correlation between manicure and cat happiness, or coffee consumption and productivity. To be honest, this is not true, because if you're drinking coffee, you will be depressed. But anyways, so depending on how long and like how many methods your research is incorporating, pretty sure that you won't be able to write everything there. But the abstract is not really the ones that you really have to go for all the details. You have to highlight only those which are the most important findings. Because, you know, people are going to read it. Or unfortunately, no. The only reason why they are going to read it because they are putting on the journal club, or your boss is asking you about, or you make a presentation. But obviously, if you have a really good abstract in which the most important findings are there, and you write a good discussion, what we already discussed, that helps the reader a lot. And obviously, later on, it helps to understand the conclusion. So the final part of the abstract is the discussion. Again, the discussion is not here the place for go for the you know, novels, romantic novels with all the stories about Lord of the Rings and whatever. It's about like the main conclusion. So basically, did you answer the question or not? Because if the reader should finish with the whole thing, they have to have a clear understanding what was done, what is your point, and why is it so good. Many of the articles are missing this part. So somehow the discussion, I don't know why, maybe people just afraid that they get the information immediately and they are not going to read the articles. Anyways, they are not going to read, but maybe this is the problem. But you have to have a conclusion, at least one sentence, like we conclude that the caffeine consumption increases productivity. So basically, this is how the abstract discussion can be done. And also, if you want to have some limitation, you can put it here. Like your discussion might include recommendation or implementation. Like this study conclude that the coffee consumption increased productivity, but here we are not talking about the depression and after the psychological aspect, but this needs to be done in a further research. And one of the most critical parts is the keywords in the abstract. If the paper is published, they have to use these search-based motors. And then in that case, if you are giving the so-called keywords, then it can help the search motors to find your articles. It is not like a long list. Even the just are giving you like options like, hey, can you just like give me 3 or 4 keywords and then it will be okay? Or there is a limitation like 2. It depends on the type of the journal that you are working with. So this is how you are going to write your abstract. And for the next homework is to write your abstract from the topic that you have been done. And to check your presence, please go scan this barcode. It's not a barcode, this is a Mozilla QR code. Please go ahead and do the test. And afterwards, I will see how many points did you collect. See you next week. Bye bye.